Assalamu alaikum, dear students and all the respectable colleagues and respectable principal and honorable directors of Safa Severa School. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Today, I would like to give a short speech on the Independence Day. This is Lada Tausif Alam. And so, first of all, I would like to mention some of the things related to independence. We need to know the word independence, what it actually means to us. It does not only mean that we are independent. Independent in what sense? That is a question which arises. So, we, when take a closer look at our lives, we come to know that how freely we may do things that we want, uh, anything we like to do, we may do. There aren't any cruelties on us, and we feel free, and we have the right to live life our way in the premises in the region that was named Pakistan. So first take a look at some of the things that why there was a need for a country to be founded, country called Pakistan. Because in 1940 or long ago, earlier than 1940, there had been atrocities by Indians. Pakistan used to be called India because it was the part of India. It was India. It was not called Pakistan until then, until the independence. So Muslims used to live with uh, Indians, Hindus, and there were other minorities too. But the major population was made up with Hindus and Muslims. So Muslims basically had the notion, and they basically had been experiencing atrocities and cruelties and unfair treatment and misconduct from the Indians, the Hindus. Therefore, their political rights, they thought, were being usurped. So Muslims basically made some political parties. The prominent party was All India Muslim League, uh, in which there were members like the political activists like Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar and Allama Iqbal and Qaeda Azam, and there are some prominent names who participated actively and enthusiastically in founding Pakistan. So we all know this thing that uh, who basically came up with the theory. There's a question, and many people are credited with the idea that they came up with the notion of two nation theory, because that became the foundation for and foundation brick for the idea that there should be some separate country for Muslims of the subcontinent. So it is believed that Sir Syed Ahmad Khan provided a modern idiom which to express that the quest for Islamic identity, you know, and many Pakistanis describe modernist and reformist scholar Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, and is believed to be the architect of two nation theory. Even Allama Iqbal is also credited with that Allama Iqbal was a great Muslim leader and he was the founder of two nation theory, and he was a poet as well. So through his poetry, he basically imbued people with nationalism. He basically broadened people's vision about having a separate country and there being a separate nation in order to basically exercise the rights and to avail the freedom and independence that was their right. So there are many facts about Pakistan. For instance, uh, why Pakistan was thought to be necessary. Obviously, it has already been explained that the religious hostilities, the enmities between Hindus and Muslims gave the movement a stronger backing in 1940. Because we are going to discuss that, we are discussing it from the year 1940 when it really picked up the pace, the Pakistan movement. So it is also called Lahore movement. The Muslim League passed the Lahore Resolution, also known as Pakistan Resolution, that asked for an independent state of Pakistan. Pakistan Resolution was the landmark in the history of South Asia. It determined for the Muslims a true goal and their homeland in northeast and northwest. The acceptance of the Pakistan resolution accelerated the pace of freedom movement. The resolution for the establishment of the separate homeland of the Muslim of British India passed in the annual session of All India Muslim League held in Lahore on 22nd or 24th March 1940 is believed to be truly a landmark document of Pakistan's history. Undoubtedly, Pakistan resolution was a landmark in the history of Muslim of South Asia. It determined for the Muslims a true goal and their homeland in northeast and northwest. The acceptance of the resolution, Pakistan resolution, really picked up the pace afterwards. There are many prominent names who basically participated actively in Pakistan movement in passing that resolution. One of those prominent names is A.K. Fazlul Haq, who presented the historical Lahore resolution in 1940. After the report, Maulana Fazlul Haq from Bengal moved the famous Lahore Resolution, better known as Pakistan Resolution. The areas in which Muslims are numerically in a majority, as in northwestern and eastern zones of India, should be grouped to constitute independent states in which the constituent. The resolution was passed, obviously, by Muslim League on 23rd of March in 1940 in Lahore the to secure. There are four actually marks for that, which are to be noted to either to secure, create, and save Muslim religion, language, and culture by the Hindu majority of India, which has the intention to subjugate Muslim after getting rid of the British ruler, because Muslims had the fear that after the departure of the British rule, Hindus would not treat them, fairly. Therefore, the need for two-nation theory was realized, and the thought was materialized stepwise through political movements. Apparently, it was achieved. The goal which had been set by the vision of Allama Iqbal, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, and uh, the name that tops the list is none other than Qaeda-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. However, later on, most people thought of this as a call for a separate Muslim state, which was later named as Pakistan. And you know what? The name Pakistan, who basically who came up with the name Pakistan, and who made the flag of Pakistan? And there are some questions that what is the full name of Pakistan? So let me tell you that the full and the formal name of Pakistan is Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And the name of country was coined in 1933 as Pakistan by Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, a Pakistan movement activist who published it in his pamphlet Now or Never was the name of the pamphlet, using it as an acronym. 30 million Muslim brethren who live in Pakistan, referring to the names of the five northern regions of British India, Punjab, Afghania, and the others. So, uh, now coming back to the flag of Pakistan. The national flag of Pakistan was designed by Sir Syed Amir Uddin uh, uh, Kedwai, and was based on the original flag of Muslim League. It was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan on August 11, 1947, just days before independence. So these are some of the facts about Pakistan, that who made the flag of Pakistan, who came up with the name of Pakistan. And now, taking a closer look and a deeper insight into Lahore Resolution. What is Lahore Resolution? Lahore Resolution, which is in Urdu called Qaraardad-e-Lahore, commonly known as Pakistan Resolution, was a political resolution or a statement drafted between 22nd to 24th March in 1940 by the 25th member Working Committee of All India Muslim League, and then formally adopted by the Muslim League membership and its general session on 23rd March 1940 held at Lahore. This resolution asked for greater Muslim autonomy for Muslim majority states such as Punjab, Bengal, Sindh, and WFP within British India. However, later on, most people thought of it as a call for a separate Muslim state. That became a reason, that was the initiation. A two-nation theory and Pakistan resolution was the initiation and inception of the struggle for a separate independent state that was later named as Pakistan. So the resolution was presented at Mantu Park, now renamed as Iqbal Park in Lahore by Maulvi A.K. Fazlul Haq on the instructions of the Working Committee. In fact, from the declaration made in this resolution in 1940 onwards, the goal of the Muslim League became increasingly fixed upon achieving an independent nation state. Today, the resolution's importance is remembered in Pakistan by Minar-e-Pakistan structure that stands in the Greater Iqbal Park in Lahore. Now, take a look at some of the members. Actually, there were 25 members in that committee of All India Muslim League in 1940 who passed that Lahore resolution, namely Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Nawabzada Liaquat Ali Khan, Sir Sikandar Hayat Khan, Sir Shah Nawaz Khan, Mamdood, Amir Ahmad Khan, Raja Sahib of Mahmudabad, uh, Sher Bangala, A.K. Fazlul Haq, Sir Abdullah Harun, and many more. So, uh, you know what? The passing of the resolution marked the transformation of Muslim minority in British India into a nation with its distinguished socio-cultural and political features as a sense of history and shared aspirations for the future within a territory. The Lahore Resolution, popularly described as Pakistan Resolution, implies modern political discourse for putting forward its demand rather than using a religious idiom for creating a religious Islamic state for protection of Islam from the onslaught of the other religions of India. And it made worldly demand, keeping in view the peculiar problems of the Muslims of British India, the political experience of the Muslim community, and prevailing debate about the ways to protect Muslim identity, rights, and interest against the backdrop of the modern state system established by the British in India. Even the resolution addressed the Muslim question in the political and constitutional context of British India and pointed out to the course of action the Muslim League intended to adopt to secure the Muslim identity, rights, and interest, obviously, in order to safeguard against any kind of atrocity and cruelty that could have usurped the rights of Muslims in India. It emphasized the principles that were relevant to the modern state system and the political context of British India. It made five specific demands, five specific demands were made in this context. So, first was the resolution rejected the federal system of the government as envisaged in the Government of India Act in 1935, Act 1935, because it was totally unsuited to and unworkable in the peculiar condition of this country and is altogether unacceptable to Muslim India. Obviously, that was the first point made in this resolution. The second point is the Muslims would not accept any revised constitutional plan unless it was framed with their consent and approval. Obviously, consent of the Muslims was also an integral part of any changes in constitution if ever had been made. So, and were to be made. Then the third demand was the adjacent territorial units should be demarcated, means the regions should have been demarcated into regions that may involve some territorial adjustments in a manner that the areas in which the Muslims are numerically in a majority, as in northwestern and eastern zones of India, became independent states in which the constituent units shall be autonomous and sovereign. Sovereign means independent. And so, I mean, Muslim areas of the Muslim majority should have been, considered and looked into wholeheartedly. That was the third demand. And the resolution offered adequate, the fourth demand is that was made, the resolution offered adequate, effective, and mandatory safeguard for the religious minorities in the Muslim majority units for the protection of their religion, cultural, economic, political, administrative, and other rights and interests in the consultation with them. Similar rights will be given to the Muslims in other parts of India. That point basically suggests that the other minorities would obviously have the same sort of rights, in terms of practicing their religion and in terms of exercising other social norms that were particular to them. And then the fifth one point was the Muslim League Working Committee was asked to formulate a constitutional scheme on the basis of the principles outlined in the resolution. So the resolution thus offered a new course of action for the Muslims of the British India as compared to the Muslim League position adopted on the constitutional and political issues in the past. The change was that of strategy but not of goal. Initially, even the Muslim League goal since its inception in December 1906 was to protect and advance Muslim sociocultural identity, rights, and interest in British India socio-political and constitutional context. Initially, Muslim League demanded separate, elaborate electorate for the Muslims so that they could elect their representatives later. It sought adequate Muslim representation in the cabinets and state service jobs. Moreover, it supported federalism with autonomy for provinces, hoping for that Muslim would be able to exercise power effectively in the Muslim majority provinces, which would not only boost the Muslim community, but also provide greater opportunity for the advancement of the Muslim rights and interests. The changes of this strategy was caused by political experience of the Muslim elite in their interaction with communities, especially the Congress Party and the politics of the British government. These strategies were manifested in growing desire of the Muslims to assert their separate socio-political parties. So, I mean, this is a little outline, you can say, and a flashback of how Lahore Resolution, Pakistan Resolution was basically necessary, how it was addressed, The Lahore Resolution did not offer a framework for organizing Pakistan's state, especially the distribution of power between the federal government and the provinces. But initially, it basically emphasized equality and parity and equal rights to be given and autonomy to be given to Muslims where Muslims were in majority. So we may see that there are different rules of different people, many political activists in founding Pakistan. So the most prominent two names that come up are the names of Qaeda Azam and Allama Iqbal. And obviously, whenever we celebrate the Independence Day on 14th in the memory of 14th of August when Pakistan became independent, and so the names of Qaeda Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah as the founder of Pakistan, Allama Iqbal, uh, will always be remembered. So, what is basically the contribution of Allama Iqbal in all that? As we know that Allama Iqbal was a great philosopher as well as a poet. Muhammad Iqbal was one of the greatest thinkers and the poets of the Muslim world. In fact, he emphasized his views through his poetry, which was revolutionary. An extraordinary scholar, he was and a harbinger of Islamic Renaissance, but also a political thinker and seer of Pakistan. From the outset, he took keen interest in the political situation of India. And in 1908, 1908, while he was still in England, he was selected as a member of the Executive Council of the newly established British branch of the Indian Muslim League. In 1931 and 32, he represented the Muslims of India in the Round Table Conferences held in England to discuss the issue of the political future of the Indian Muslims. A brilliant intellect from the beginning, Allama Iqbal's devotion to knowledge and intellect verily attributed to his academic achievements. He got a bachelor's degree from the Government College Lahore, and he will always be remembered for the services and especially uh, supporting uh, people at the psychological level. In Iqbal poetry, we find a significant symbol, Didavar, which means devotion, visionary, who may be deemed as Iqbal himself. As you know, that the poetry and the other sort of literary work is author's, way of self-expressionism in which he expresses himself. He could foresee what others could not because he was visionary. A visionary sees the problems or critical phenomena in the long run, in the long term perspective, and develops some sort of cosmic sense. Such individuals, although are very rare, they change and course of the history forever because they are the change makers. And the existence of Allama Iqbal and his contribution will always be remembered in the history and annals of Pakistan. And Pakistan owe a great deal of gratitude to his extraordinary vision. And there are many things that we remember about Allama Iqbal. Some of the things I would like to mention here that Allama Iqbal's statement explaining the attitude of Muslim delegates to Roundtable Conference issued in December 1933 was a resort to Jawaharlal Nehru, who had said that the attitude of Muslim delegation was based on reactionarism. Iqbal summed up his statement in these words. In conclusion, I must put a straight question to Pandit Jawaharlal. How is India's problem to be solved if the majority community will neither concede the minimum safeguards necessary for the protection of the minority of 80 million people, nor accept the award of the third party, but continue to talk of a kind of nationalism which works out only uh, to its own benefit? In this way, actually, he emphasized that obviously Indians, Hindus were only working for their own benefit. They were not interested in benefiting the Muslims. So, therefore, a two nation theory was devised, and a need for the separate country was realized and visioned by Allama Iqbal. In short, Allama Iqbal was the main man behind the idea of Pakistan. His contributions to the Muslim world as one of the greatest thinkers of Islam also stand unparalleled. He is matchless in this capacity. In his writings, he exhorted people, particularly the youth, to stand up and face the various challenges bravely like an eagle. The central theme and main source of his message was Quran, that it's a source of foundational principles upon which the infrastructure of an organization must be built as a coherent system of life. According to Iqbal, the only system of life that could be implemented as a living and cultural force is Islam, because it is based on permanent and absolute values given in Quran. Jinnah, for whom Iqbal evinced a great deal of respect and admiration, was so eloquent in his praise of the great Muslim poet. He will live, said Jinnah, as long as Islam will live. His noble poetry interprets the true aspirations of the Muslims of India. It will remain an inspiration for us, for generation after us. Such quotes, of Qaid Azam in admiration of Allama Iqbal clearly express the idea that how both the leaders were in coordination and how they were spiritually connected and psychologically in contact with each other and working in collaboration to found Pakistan. So this is all about the history of Pakistan. That finally the political movement uh, became fruitful and it produced the result that was aimed at, and it was basically a separate country for the Muslims of the India. And from India's the whole territory, Pakistan came into being in 1947 uh, on 14th of August. So every August 14th of August, we celebrate the Independence Day of Pakistan. And obviously, in the whole country, countrywide celebrations are observed, that in every part of Pakistan, every Pakistani who is patriotic, who loves the country, uh, performs as a nation and shows his enthusiasm, love for the motherland, and expresses his happiness of being independent by obviously participating in it. There are national songs that are telecast, and the national anthem in the morning. Like the high level officials, the president, the prime minister, make visit to Qaid Azam's shrine or mausoleum, and Allama Iqbal's mausoleum, and other personalities, prominent ones uh, who founded Pakistan, and their names will be remembered in the history of Pakistan. So this is how actually we must value uh, the independence we have, because if you compare it with those regions where like there is no freedom. You may compare it with Kashmir. For a couple of decades, occupied Kashmir has been facing atrocities and cruelties, as are they are reported, on TV channels through media, and we come to know, and we obviously don't feel good about it. So we already know that what is the worth and value of independence. We must value it because it is quite necessary. Who may not like independence? Obviously, independence is the blessing of God, it is a blessing of Allah, and we should value such an independence wholeheartedly. And in the concluding note of mine, I would like to say that Independence Day of Pakistan, that is 14th of August, is always remembered and will always be remembered, because Pakistan will live long, and it will always be remembered. And we know that the Muslims of the subcontinent give many sacrifices for status, and for many decades, if we go back in the history of India, how Muslims had been struggling for getting their rights and independence and sovereignty and having an autonomy. So finally, their dream came true after a lot of struggle. And as ever, minorities, Muslims of the subcontinent gave many sacrifices, and obviously their dreams came true. However, the efforts made by people like Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Iqbal, and Sir Syed Ahmad Khan made sure that their sacrifices did not go in vain, and they were able to provide Muslims an independent homeland. Obviously, Independence Day for any country like a celebration, and the people of Pakistan celebrate this festival and celebration with interest and joy. They come together, show integrity, they show unity under the green and white flag of Pakistan. They hoist the flag uh, happily. The flag, a flag, if the sign is the sign of the country, and every country has different flags, and they rejoice their happiness with friends and their family members. So, as a Pakistani, we should also show some zeal and zest to actively participate. We know that buntings are sold. Pakistani flag is basically printed on those buntings, and we know that they people bear expense to buy those buntings, to buy flags. National songs are telecast on different TV channels nationwide, and since the morning of the day, on 14th of August, we feel happiness for being independent. Such a blessing of Allah should be paid gratitude to by worshipping Him, by saying salah to Him, for paying Him gratitude. Thanksgiving prayers should be offered to Allah for independence, which is such a blessing. We live in an independent country where our country Pakistan has become a land of opportunities, and Pakistan, by the grace of God, is enriched with the natural resources as well, and we have everything that any other country may ever think of and dream of. So, Alhamdulillah, Pakistan has been blessed with everything. We have minerals, we have natural resources, we have forests, we have uh, seasides, we have everything. And Pakistan has agriculture, Pakistan has industries. There are, many job opportunities, and obviously the intercultural diversity Pakistan also has. And the other minorities in Pakistan are living quite happily, and they support Pakistan. And they think that, Pakistan is suitable country for them because their rights are given to them, and their independence as a minority is not usurped in Pakistan. So Pakistan is a country which is a safe haven, not only for the people of Pakistan, the natives of Pakistan, but also for those who are the minorities in Pakistan. So we must value and